Love makes me treat you the way that I do. Gee, baby, ain't I good to you? There's nothing too good for a girl that's so true. Gee, baby, ain't I good to you? Bought you a fur coat for Christmas. Hi folks, so now we're looking at Wednesday's lesson, which deals with the minor scale, and we're going to be learning about something called modes. Specifically, there are two modes that we're going to be talking about, major and minor. And I wanted you to take a look at this introduction to modes. Do read through that because it does give you a very good description. But I wanted to point out this particular paragraph here, a little bit of history. Historically speaking, the major and minor modes have their origin in 8 Gregorian chant modes, also known as the church modes, in use during the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, which were from about 1450 to 1600. Later on, we will take a brief look at the structure of those modes because they are still used in folk, pop, and jazz music today. These modes, ladies and gentlemen, had really funky names: Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Hypomixolydian, Locrian, and Ionian. So just to name a few. Don't worry, I'm not going to test you on any of that, but we are going to look at them a little bit in detail later on. Remember, I mentioned in my intro to this week that every major key signature has a relative minor. So you're going to want to read on this idea of relative minor key signatures. But take a look at this. It says to build the relative minor of a major scale, start on the submediant scale, degree 6. Think about that. Start on the 6th degree of the major scale to build its relative minor scale. You can also guarantee that if you want to find a major key's relative, go to the mediant. That's going to tell you what it is. That's going to tell you what its letter name is. What is the submediant of C? Well, if you count up 6, C, D, E, F, G, A. Right? That's going to be the mediant. That's C major's relative minor is in fact A minor. Now it's talking about something else. Now it's talking about the forms of the minor scale. Now you need to know these 3 forms, okay? They are natural, minor, melodic minor, and harmonic minor. Okay, so let's look at these. I'm going to let you listen to them on your own. They do have distinctive sounds. One thing to remember is the natural minor scale. Let's listen to it. Notice that it has a unique sound, okay? The minor scale rule in minor scales tells you the order of the half steps and what they are, but I'm going to give you another little rule to remember. The natural minor scale has no altered tones, nothing outside of its key signature, okay? You'll notice though that the other forms of the minor scale do have some altered tones. I'll let you read up about the scale degrees. We've been introduced to the circle of fifths, and you can use that as a tool to help you. But let's skip ahead a little bit and notice here that it's talking about building these scales, ascending and descending. Same idea as before. It's asking you to take a little quiz. These quizzes will not be counted towards your final grade, but it says to construct an ascending B natural minor scale. Okay? A scale, ladies and gentlemen, simply means it's going to start and end on the same note. Also, we learned that a scale contains 8 tones, right? Now, we're not talking about major scales, though. We're talking about minor scales. So let's just do this real quick. We're going to start on B. It says in octave 3. So I'm going to go up here to that. And we'll go ahead and see if this is placed right. So just stack them all the way up to the top. Now you can tell it says I got 6 out of the 8 notes correct. So what happened? It says to construct an ascending B natural minor scale beginning in octave 3. Well, we're going to have to raise some of these pitches in order to make this work. So let's do it again. And part of the reason that we're having to raise these pitches is because B minor, okay, is the relative minor of some major key. Well, let's see if we can figure that out. What is B the 6th degree of? Well, we can figure this out in our hands, can't we? B, right? And then before that would be A, then G, then F, then E, right? And then D. So here we go, D major. Well, if we were to look at the key signature for D major, we would know that it has 2 sharps in it, F sharp and C sharp. So if you go back to that, the section on key signatures, that can confirm what we're talking about. F must be sharp and C must be sharp in this key. So we could also look at the order of whole steps and half steps, and you are welcome to do it that way. I prefer to go ahead with key signatures, but let's do this. B, we said C is going to be sharp. Oops. There we go. D, we don't need D sharp. E, F must be sharp. Remember, that's because of the key. G, A, and B. Okay, so something to notice here. C sharp to D is a half step. D to E is a whole step. So we have whole, half, whole, whole, half, right? And then, excuse me, G to A would be a whole, and then A to B would also be a whole. So the half steps and the whole steps are displaced in this type of scale. So now we're going to do an E natural minor scale, and I will just tell you that that is going to contain 1 sharp because E happens to be the relative minor of G major. But let's follow this ideology of whole, whole, half. So we know that the first 2 notes we're going to have are going to have to be a whole step apart. Well, E to F is not a whole step. Let's pull up our trusty keyboard here. Oh, I guess we can't. Oh, well. All right, we would if we could. So E to F is a half step. Let's make it a whole step. We have to raise with a sharp. So there's our whole step. And just trust me, you're not going to need it again. F sharp to G, that's going to be the half step. G to A, another whole step. A to B, a whole step. B to C, well, guess what? That's a half step. C to D, whole step, and D to E is a whole step. It's said to do this in octave 4, by the way. So there you go. You can see that you can do this on your own. Just watch out for the whole steps and the half steps. But if you want to associate them with key signatures, just go back and review the key signatures and think about the relative or its relationship to its major key. Hopefully that will give you an added bonus. If not, then of course, by all means, go ahead and work with these, doing the whole step, half step sequence. Thanks, folks, and we will see you soon.
I'm a sentimental sap, that's all. What's the use of trying not to fall? I have no will, you've made your kill, 'cause you took advantage of me. I'm just like an apple